welcome to Slate Me. I'm the UK reporter Tegan Westall, and I'm here today with Chris Foster, who is an actor, director and writer of a new series that I'm in as well. Hello Chris, thank you for coming today. So can you tell us a bit more about yourself, so kind of general information, maybe stuff like what kind of flavoured pizza you like, stuff like that?
Well, I'm a bit of an oddball, I suppose. I've got some odd hobbies. I absolutely love my motorcycles. So yeah, I'm a big martial artist as well. Absolutely love my martial arts.
What martial arts do you do?
I do kenjutsu, which is
Okay.
all Japanese sword work. But I come from a mixture of karate, kung fu, kickboxing, and Krav Maga.
Okay.
So yeah, I've kind of dabbled in a bit of everything.
Was there kind of a moment when you realised, like, yes, this is what I want to do? Or do you prefer kind of directing and writing over acting?
I definitely prefer acting because it's the passion that's got me involved with the industry. I started out with extras work. Got involved with a local company here called Phoenix Theatrical Agency.
I've heard of them,
Yeah. They took me on, and it was only extras work. Supporting artist work. they don't like being called extras.
No.
It was only, doing essay work, and I don't know. It was something in the back of my mind that said, give it a try. Give it a try and see what you think. I hadn't really found anything that I enjoyed in that aspect, and I've always loved entertaining people, be it through just sitting down and telling a few jokes and laughing, and I've always enjoyed the aspect of entertaining people. So I thought, well, I'd give this a try, and then my first day on set as an extra, and I was hooked from there, really.
Yeah.
It was doing a local series called Casualty.
Yeah,
my first day was on Casualty, and I went from... it was really, really good, actually, because it was a scene where somebody got shot, and I was one of the people that carried this guy out. So I ended up, my first day, I ended up getting lines, and I ended up covered in blood.
Well, that's a great first.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good way to get into it.
Yeah, and from there I was just kind of hooked with it. It took a little bit of getting used to, especially... I had a lot of confidence issues, and this was a fantastic way. You'll be surprised. This is a fantastic way to overcome a lot of confidence issues. If you're worried about yourself, go and stand out in front of God knows how many people and express yourself, and I guarantee you that confidence will go away.
Yeah. So, when you first started, presumably it was through the Phoenix casting agency that you used to get these jobs in the first place. Did you find that particularly challenging, a challenging way of working? Because I'm presuming that sporting artists have incredibly long days, get called in very early.
Yeah, I've had everything from your working 14 hours in a day, to being called out for a job just in case I was needed, and then told I wasn't needed. My scene was cancelled after 20 minutes and then sent home. Which is, that's a great day.
Yeah. You still get paid that day?
Yeah, you still got paid for it, because they called you out, and it was a hell of a challenge. You'd be getting calls sometimes the other side of the country for 7 o'clock in the morning, and you have to go. And my main mode of transport at the time was my motorcycle, so it was a case of wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, put the bike leathers on, shoot down the motorway, freeway to American viewers, and you had to go. But it was a bit of a grumble, and it was difficult to get yourself up and kicked out of bed.
It's commitment, that though.
Yeah, but you never knew what you were doing. You absolutely never knew what you were doing. I had such a wide variety of stuff that I've done with supporting artist work. I've gone from anything to... I was a knight in Merlin, so one day you're doing sword fighting, the next you're running away from a dragon, the next you just sat around a campfire eating soup, and then you'll go straight on to the next one. I loved how diverse it was, because you never knew what you were doing. You were... the next week I'd be in Doctor Who playing a scientist, or I got eaten by a snowman at one point.
Was that in Doctor Who?
Covered in fake snow. Yeah, that's right.
I think I'm going to have to look for you in that.
The Christmas special with Matt Smith and Richard E. Grant was in it.
Yeah.
I was one of the people that got eaten.
Is that the snow that talks to people? Is that one?
Yes, yeah, and it manifests itself as snowmen and.
I'm gonna have to go and look for you now.
Yeah.
So of all the, you must have had, like I said, because you've got some bizarre stories from characters that you've played and whatnot. What's been the funniest moment that you've ever had on a set?
It'd be hard to think of one specific one. I mean, I've been in some really I've had some really funny sets when I was a supporting artist. I remember being sat with a guy and we were chatting and we looked across and this guy sat across the table from us who looked so much like Rick Moranis. It was frightening. We thought Rick Moranis was sat on a table in front of us. And I don't know why, but this was the funniest thing in the world. It was absolutely the funniest thing in the world. And when we told him, he thought it was the funniest thing in the world as well, which was really good. I mean, it was a 12-hour day, but we spent most of it just in stitches. But there's just been lots of funny little things that you kind of don't really expect. Another one that really made me laugh was on Merlin, and we had all these knights and barbarians, and they're all dressed up with all the kit, and some of them were play fighting, and the woman who was running costume, her name was Amy, kind of came out, saw they were play fighting in the costumes, came out, gave them all a telling off.
Oh.
And you just kind of see all these guys, big butch burly guy go, sorry, and walk away. And it was just really funny to see this little 5 foot something.
So, moving on a bit, the brand new series that I'm in, and that you are writing is How to Kill a Zombie.
It is.
Can you tell us a bit more about what that is and how you first came up with the idea and kind of what started off the whole thing for you?
Yeah, I actually wrote it while I was a retail security guard, working in a quite big chain store, and I was just, when you're walking around, you've got a lot of time in your own head, you've got a lot of time to think, and just this idea kind of hit me of I'd been watching a lot of sort of street crime, police stop, that kind of thing. And I just thought, well, what about this concept for it? So I walked out, and I didn't walk out, I walked out the store.
I walked out of work.
Yeah, that was it. I left, and that was it. Unfortunately, it's not that kind of fairy tale, or it's... I went out on my lunch break, and I bought a pad and a pen, and I just started writing. And I think when you've got these ideas, put them down on paper, even if they're just rough. Put them down on paper, and then run with it.
Yeah.
And see where it goes.
The series has 5 or 6 kind of what would be classed as main characters in it,
6.
without there actually being a definitive
Yes.
main character. What was the process for creating those 5 or 6? Kind of how did you start to build them up? Because they're all so different from each other.
Well, the really funny thing is they were all very similar when I first started writing. Because this is where I found a lot of... I found it's very challenging. I found a lot of difficulty is writing in the personality of developing these characters and then writing in their personality.
Yeah.
That's certainly a challenge, jumping between, especially 6 characters.
Yeah.
Jumping between that. Yeah. Jumping between 6 characters and 3 of them are female.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a challenge for me. And you do have to be very wary of certainly coming across, when you're writing for a female as a male, you have to be wary of coming across as sexist.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big thing. You have to consider your audience.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, because it's a comedy series that I'm writing, you have to be considerate of your viewer audience, and the way you place something in your head isn't going to necessarily come across in the way that you want with them. But it's a mix-up of different things. I think every one of these characters has a little bit of my personality in there.
Yeah.
Which I find quite funny, actually, because you read the original ones and it's like 6 of me having a conversation. It's really strange.
Mm-hmm.
I go back over the scripts, and I still have the first book that I wrote.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I still have the first book that I wrote, and one thing I did learn about writing was scripting a scripting format. If you're going to learn how to do a scripting format. That is definitely something I got a crash course in very quickly.
Yeah. So obviously you play Salem
Mm-hmm.
in the series, who is one of the group. Can you tell us a bit more about him? A little bit, just kind of the character that he is, so
Yes,
we can kind of get an understanding of him. 'Cause obviously I know him.
Yes. Well, the whole series centres around a group of zombie disposal experts who, once you delve into it a bit more, are some of the biggest screw-ups you'll ever meet. they're if you could think of 6 people that shouldn't be doing that job, this is those 6 people. So it develops. It's in the zombie apocalypse, which has been very underwhelming and just hasn't been anywhere near.
Like anyone thought.
Exactly, yeah. And my character is Salem, who is a little bit, bless him, he's a little bit dense. He's a little bit innocent. But his origins are mostly unknown.
So, just to conclude, there's hopefully a lot of young aspiring actors watching this, whether they have had some experience or not, potentially. If you could give them any advice as to how to get started, what would you say to them?
I would probably say use the opportunities that you've got. Definitely use. Young people these days have a lot of opportunities, certainly a lot more than when I was younger. I had a bit of a rough time when I was younger. I used to get bullied a lot for my weight. I was the fat kid at school, unfortunately, so I got bullied a lot more, a lot for that. And I actually got told when I was in school that I wasn't allowed to do drama because too many other people wanted to do it. So I wasn't allowed to do drama. You can go and pick something else. Sorry kid, go and find something else to do with your future. Too many people want to do drama. But young people these days have a lot more on their doorstep. They have a lot more that they can do, especially with things like YouTube.
Yeah.
How many people have taken something from a little YouTube video that they've just uploaded for fun and they've turned it into a full-time job?
Yeah.
There are a lot of people, not just vloggers. There's so many people that have done it. Personal favourite of mine is Epic Rap Battles in History. They've taken something from 2 people in front of a green screen and they've built a studio that's been bought by Disney. So do what you love, take full advantage of the opportunities around you, and network. Just network with people, get in contact with people that are into the same things as you. If you can, much like we're doing, we just kind of a lot of actors got together and decided, okay, let's do this. Go out there, make films, be creative, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you, Chris, for talking to me today. So this was our lovely interview with Chris Foster. I am Tegan Westall. This is Slate Me. Thank you very much.